we are live.
Oh,
Oh, we are live on my channel. Isn't that what Fresh says? All
Yeah, he
right.
does.
You
All
doing
right. So,
the John Cena? You can't see me.
Ah.
all right. So it is
bad.
Tuesday. It is Mixing It Up Day. We are here. We are live. We are having fun. We are having way too much fun talking shit before the show that I forgot that we were doing a show, which is always a good sign. I'm starting to become Stan.
not a good sign.
Stan's fairly successful, so like, there's worse things you could be.
I'd rather be
Got
more
him there.
successful. Bam.
Oh,
Oh,
what a dig!
Uh-huh. Alrighty, so here we are. Yeah. So let's just jump into this. Who wants to start us off? Let's see. Mitch, let's hear from you. What you been up to other than yesterday?
Hey, well, yesterday on the Ohmies, mixed up a cherry pineapple popsicle that turned out fucking super bomb. Besides that, I mixed up a bunch of watermelon and 12 milligram for my Caliburn, and added a bunch of nicotine to a bunch of Ohmboys liquids because a couple of the flavors I picked up, all they had was zero.
Big benefit of being a
Besides that,
DIYer.
right?
If you see zero, you don't give a fuck. You're like, send it
Yeah,
up
it does,
to
yeah.
me.
Oh, $10?
Well, actually,
Oh,
to be honest, like that's what I look for now
Mhm.
because I vape in MTL, restricted direct lung, big airflow, so I can adjust stuff. So I might as well just get zero.
Mhm.
Besides that, not a whole lot. If you guys follow me on Twitter, one of the guys that I've sent a bunch of juice to back in New York, today did a live review of my Sins of a Serial Killer.
Nice.
Sent
Oh,
him a
nice.
bottle of
Nice,
that,
man.
and he was
All right.
like, "Hey, he messaged me and was like, "Hey, would it be cool with you if I did a review of that new liquid you're sending me?"
oh, hell yeah.
Fucking go for it, bud.
Only if you like it.
Yeah. Well, he did, so I was happy
No
with
bad
that. It
reviews.
went to yeah, no bad reviews.
You get nothing if you send a bad review.
Hey, I am not China.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah,
But
dude.
besides that,
if you don't like it, let me know. I mean, was it Logan? I actually sent him a couple of the fruit basket, and he said his complaint was it was too dry. I'm like, okay, so like a wine, it's too dry. I'm like, I get that. I was like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean, it's all subjective.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Besides that, just made a bunch of vanilla custard for a local customer. Like every 2 weeks he orders 240 mils of vanilla custard.
Do you send him like
He goes
big
through
240 mil bottles?
Nah, he gets 460s.
You should just get like a giant, like half a liter bottle and send it to him.
He swings
Yeah,
by my
like-
house and I run it out like a drug deal.
Yeah. No, it's like Clown's right. You should get a big 240, and then he brings you the empty one. You give him a full one. Yeah. Be perfect.
Like
That's
in
not
Mexico.
bad. I like that.
In Mexico, you
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
well, no, okay.
Yeah.
In Mexico, like the way they used to do it, I don't know if they still do, but if you bought like a Coke, like a liter of Coke or something, or a 2 liter bottle, you would have to return a bottle before you could buy another one. They wouldn't let you buy soda unless you turned in a bottle.
Yeah.
So how do you get the first one? What if you're like new to the scene?
I don't know. I don't know how you would get the first one, but we always had a Coke bottle in the house somewhere.
Besides that, it's been fairly quiet on my end. What about you, Chris?
Well, you know what? Actually, recently, in like the last week, I'd say, I've been pushing my comfort zone a little bit, and I've been trying to rock some like candy vapes. So a friend of mine kind of like pushed me to the idea that he thought that a grape, apple, berry, sour candy would be good. But well, sorry, sour gummy is actually what was asked for. So actually, I'm trying it again right now. I mixed up a 30 mil and I vaped it, but I didn't have any like sour gummy, so I made it a hard candy, and now I got some sour. Dude, I fucking ordered like 4 or 5 sour, like anything that had sour in it. It was like sour gummy, sour sweet, fucking
Don't they do like
grape.
a sour enhancer?
There's one that there's one that I got that like on ELR, all the write-ups are like put 1 drop per fucking 10 mils. I did not try that one yet. Right now, this is not really that sour to me. It tastes pretty good though. I'm not gonna like say that it's bad, but it's not sour to me right now. Could be end up being sour. I'm not sure. Like if I knuckle it, let me see if I knuckle it, if it tastes sour to me. Because I was very, very scared when I'm like reading all these notes, and I'm like, this is gonna be so sour. All these ones are so sour. Yeah, it's sour on the knuckle, but when you vape it, it's not that sour. It's pretty good though. I'm not hating on it. I got and then another one, which do you guys remember like a few weeks ago I said that I mixed up something right before the show and I never ended up saying exactly what it was, and it was like called I Like My Candies Hard. Well, I decided, I was like, okay, well, I want to try this with the sour gummy because I thought that like that blue raspberry and mango sour would be really good.
Yeah.
And I haven't tried that yet. I mixed them both up last night. So that's like a second one because obviously, you know, I made the first one and I actually enjoyed it. There's a couple things I wanted the mango turned up a little bit, so I like folded in another mango, and then I juiced up one of the blue raspberries a little bit more because I think that it tastes a little bit more full than the other one, but the other one gives something that the full one doesn't give me exactly. So I kind of have like I think there's 3 blue raspberries in it. It knuckles really nice. I'm gonna have to vape it probably later on tonight. I kind of got home from work, ate dinner, and then popped in here, so I didn't have enough time to like really clean and rewick everything. So those are 2 things that I've mixed. Another thing, which I think that I just finished it last. Oh no! I did this last Friday night actually, and it was we had AJ Holland on the green room for like a build off. And he was saying, he's like, you know what? If like I did DIY, he's like, I would want to come up with like a maple marshmallow cream. So I was like, what did you say it was? And he's like, maple marshmallow cream. So I was like, fuck it, I'll mix it right now. It was like 12:30 at night, and I was just like, I'll just mix it. It's pretty good. I like it. I think that I need to. I put too much marshmallow in. I kind of feel because I put enough maple syrup or maple flavoring in it that I feel like there should be more of it than there is, and I think that I put a little too much marshmallow, and it's kind of taking it away. Because I use 2 different marshmallows. I use like marshmallow from TFA, and I use marshmallow vanilla from One on One. And I think that I'm just going to drop the TFA marshmallow and try it. Basically, everything's the same except just no marshmallow. Because I actually have really enjoyed it. Like I vaped a pretty good amount of it. So like I kind of have a good idea of like what this tastes like at this point. And I mean, I appreciate that it's also only 4 days old, but like I'm more concerned about the maple that I taste and all that. The cream's nice, whatever, but that's something that I did, and it's kind of like led me to this idea that sometimes it is really nice to like not think about what you're trying to do, and someone says what they want, and then you just try to hit that mark. I kind of like that idea because it makes me not overthink things sometimes, because sometimes I will overthink it. I'll be like, oh, you know, I know that I did this in another recipe and it kind of worked out, and then I'm trying to fold that into like something else to try to make it all work out. And that's fun if I don't really care what happens. Like if I'm just DIYing the DIY, then it doesn't bother me. But I kind of liked having this profile that I'm trying to hit. So that was pretty cool. And I think that that's about it. I've been kind of just enjoying some previous recipes that I've had and like trying to like work, get in on them a little bit deeper and take my notes down and all that stuff. So I'm one of those people like I'm you know what, I'm cheap, okay? So like I hate using a bottle and then throwing it away or recycling it or whatever, right? If I'm working on something. Now, like, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? If I make up like 4 bottles of vanilla custard and some butterscotch custard and whatever else, like, yeah, more often than not, I'll end up, once it's done, I just treat it like it's a commercial liquid and I just like recycle it. But if I'm working on a recipe, I will use a 30 ml like 2-3 times just because I feel like it's a waste of money if I don't. So that's what I'm just kind of working down some of the bottles on previous mixes and just making my notes on them, and eventually I'll get to them and remix them and use the same bottles. But yeah, that's basically all for me. Sifu, hit us with what you've been up to, bud.
Oh, I've been at work. So actually, the weekend before I left, just tagging back off of what you said about somebody requesting something very specific, and customer of mine wanted a tiger's blood. And so I went on that, and I had ended up with I had no watermelon. Um, so I went ahead and ordered some of that watermelon from BSO. And I think I've already cataloged this with you guys that I thought that watermelon was too natural for that application. You're kind of expecting a snowball watermelon, really high, bright, super candy type of thing. So on recommendation from you guys, I got the sweet watermelon from Capella, and I redid the mix on that Sunday. And I really didn't get a good sense for it because the strawberries together whenever they're just poured out, especially the strawberry trinity, the shisha and the red touch and ripe strawberry ripe. They're all very floral, so I didn't really get a good sense of it. But I was much happier with the way that it knuckled compared to the previous one. So I'm excited to get back home and actually try that one. Um, Other than that, I had mixed a few things for myself. Um, that was it. I did fill an order that went out on the Monday night. But the big news I wanted to discuss is that don't be so quick to bash one of your own mixes because the fig pear ginger infused Coke cake that I did not like at all turned into a jammy Coke cake. I was very, very surprised that ginger steeped out completely. There's no weird throat thing, and it's actually quite lovely. So, but I had tried it. It's like, okay, just grabbed it, and I still had the same setup that I had because I was like, yeah, I'm not dripping anything over this because it's going to be disgusting. So I didn't rewick it. So I was like, oh shit, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. And it was great. I was very, very happy. So that was the first cake mix that I make, and the cake comes through. It tastes like jammy Coke cake. I don't know if I really get any fig and pear, but it's definitely like a ginger, spicy, jammy Coke cake, and I was very, very happy with it. So, other than that, I've been gone. I've been out of town for the last almost 2 weeks now, and I haven't really done anything. I guess if you want to say what I've been mixing, I only expected a few days, but ended up a lot longer. So I ended up having to go to a local shop, and I picked up some Juice Heads watermelon lime, which has my wheels spinning. And also, I wanted to try a commercial cactus, and I got the Nom's cactus jackfruit mandarin, and this is actually lovely as well. But it was a weird experience to go into a vape store, a vape shop, a local, and actually shop for commercial liquid. Like I didn't go into there with anything that I was wanting. Just like, oh, and the girl behind the counter was really helpful. She was very knowledgeable too. She was like, hey, did you check out, this one's new line? I got all of the occult stuff. I got all of this. I got all of this. I got all of this. And so she starts giving me stuff and trying things. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, Juice Head's real popular. I was like, yeah, let's see what people are vaping these days. And yeah, so it was kind of a unique and fun experience to go and shop for commercial juice with no notion of what you were going to go in there for, So,
Did you play dumb at all?
yeah,
Sometimes when I go into vape shops, which since COVID really hasn't happened, but before that, I like to play a little dumb, like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Even though,
No,
I mean, some would argue that I really don't know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
there's
Okay,
that,
I actually
but-
had this
Well,
conversation.
what was
with
weird
the guy
about it?
earlier.
What was that?
I had a
Like,
conversation
Ron
with a guy about that
Swanson.
earlier. Like he was talking about he's coming out to this area. He's like, dude, it'd been cool to meet up at a shop or something. I was like, yeah, I don't know any of the shops around here anymore because I stopped going to them because I had one guy lecture me about mech mods and how no one in their right mind should use them.
Right.
And then I've had other moments where they try to talk to me about things that I'm like, yeah, that's not how that works. Sure,
Yeah.
you can think that, but you're going to blow someone's face off. And then there was the time where I tried buying a drip tip. I asked the dude for a 510 drip tip, and his response to me was, is that the one that goes on the smock tank?
Well, I did kind of play dumb for a little while, and then I outed myself. Not intentionally, but I outed myself. It was like she handed me some custard. She goes, "Yeah, people are like this vanilla custard," and I tasted it and I go, "Oh, that's unsteeped Capella." And she did what? I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She goes, what is that?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I make my own liquids," and then I had to explain like I'm out and I'm actually shopping. I haven't shopped for liquids in a while, and 'cause
Sifu was
she
like,
trying to-
"Do you know who Grim Green is? I'm kind of vape famous. Would you like?"
Like, yeah, it's kind of how it is.
I didn't pull that card, but thinking about it, I should have. I'd have got some free liquid or
You got a
something.
discount.
Well, I might have could have made a contact to sell liquids to the store. I don't know. I never think about these things, But
Dude, stores
then
are
we
weird
talked
and
about
picky. Trust me, I've tried.
yeah. We talked gear for a little minute because I didn't want to rewick my K fun my Thai fun, and I was like, yeah, I'll pick up something, out and just to. It's like any rebuildables, and she's like, no, we got these smocks and we got these Valerians and we got this and we got this, and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
You got any Caliburns? What's a Caliburn? I'm like,
Oh,
You ever walk into
So-
a shop where that they only have like Geek Vape or
yeah,
Slack and
yeah. I
things
mean,
like
they had
that?
a lot of stuff, and
No.
then I was like, I see they had some. They had some.
Aegis store.
They had. She had like a beautiful. She had those blue Geek Vape minis, the rechargeable guys, the little ones, and I was like, ooh, you know what? That would be pretty sweet for my Citadel. And I was like, well, how much is it? She goes, oh, it's $80. And I'm like, and like, so I kind of made her jump. I did. Oh, she did. Oh, she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, $80 for a Geek Vape Mini? Yeah, it's really popular. We sell a lot of these. And I'm like, and then I check out and I was struck with I kind of did the same thing with the bill. She gives me the total. I'm like, how, what? 60 bucks plus taxes for 200 milliliters of liquid. And I'm like, I'm kind of like Chris, it's
DIYing
like
and online sales.
I've
we
been,
are spoiled at
I
this point.
love supporting my local store, but their prices are pretty reasonable. This shop was a little, but I mean, $80 for a Geek Vape Mini, the rechargeable guy, the little one.
Mhm.
I was like,
Yeah, but like
whoa.
you got to remember that retail stores have a lot of overhead, Sifu.
Oh, I
That's
guess.
that's how the prices are
I guess.
justified.
Look, I love supporting. Shout out to Troposphere in Lafayette, Louisiana. I love Tim. He's an advocate, great guy. That shop is awesome. He's got good pricing and great stuff. And I like to help him out for things that I can with. I don't buy a lot of gear these days, um, but yeah, it was an experience. I haven't. You kind of forget that's where you started vaping in a vape shop, and you just paid that stuff because you
That's
wanted
all
to
you
do
had.
it. It's all you had available, and the same thing with liquids. And then we were talking before the show. It's like I'm 2 days into this commercial liquid, and my throat is a little scratchy, and it's kind of giving me that weird taste in the back of my throat. And I don't know if it's the nicotine. I don't know if it's just oversaturated flavor. I don't know if it's just oversweetened. Maybe a combination of all of it. But you still come away with a good idea, right? I mean, this watermelon lime is, when I first tried it, it's like, this is awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. I was like, I'm plowing through it, and then like 2 days later, I'm like, I can't talk no more because of the juice I'm making. So,
Well, it's also
What?
like that profile.
you like that? You want me to do it again?
No, but like that
I can't
profile
talk anymore because
started.
of the juice I'm vaping.
To me, watermelon can be like throaty.
It is.
So can lime. So it's like that profile is kind of.
I didn't think of that, Mitch, Chris.
Well, shit,
Mitch
even
Chris.
even
Episode
in
50. Sifu knows everyone's name. Coming at
No.
you.
No,
Anybody out there that is really good with
it's
Photoshop, I need a
my-
picture of Mitch and Chris blended together.
well, the thing is that
Chris.
my eyes see Mitch's name is
Chris.
right here above Chris's head. So whenever I look into that panel, my brain is seeing Mitch, but I want to say Chris, so it messes me up.
Here, I'm gonna fix
See-
that for you. Okay.
even when I mix up Wayne's Water Malone, I use Sifu's
Perfect.
trick, and I throw a
Perfect.
percentage of marshmallow in, because Water Malone to me has that watermelon's a little throaty.
Oh, watermelon is throaty as fuck.
And using that, a percent of marshmallow makes it fan-fucking-tastic. And I've been vaping the shit out of it. I mean, I made this 30 mil on the 11th, and it's like basically already all gone. And all I've been vaping it
watermelon
in
is
is
really
the
good.
cow.
Yeah, watermelon is great with some marshmallow. But anyway, that's sorry to ramble.
Oh, you're good.
But
Ramble away.
that's been my experience for the weekend. So, Clown, why don't you tell us what you've been doing?
Nothing virtually. Before going into my hiatus from mixing, I did mix up that Cramblow. I'm still trying to see if that's the final version of it. That's that cranberry blood orange cookie. And then I'm reworking the Tyson's blend. So I did those and threw them in the box with all my other flavorings, because recently we got our carpets redone and we've been doing all sorts of stupid shit in this house. And so all our stuff was put up. It was like the most ridiculous thing ever. So I got those two done. I'm testing them out. Tyson's blend, I think it's kind of going on like the tail end of that strawberry something. So we'll see. And then the Cramblow, I'm still trying it out. I'm seeing. I don't know. I liked how it was before, but I was like, you know what? I can make this better. Let's just fucking do it. Why are we just pussyfooting around?
Yeah,
But
just tear it down. Tear your sanctums down.
Pretty much. I mean, that's a mix I've had for 4 years now, and I'm like, dude, we could make this recipe better. Fuck it, let's do it. All right. But yeah, that's me right there.
Sifu, look how dark this mind bender is.
I've never seen mine bender that dark.
This is what happens when you buy 240 mils, and I'm finally cracking into the second one. The date wore off of it too.
Yeah, actually, one of my customers, I sent some liquids to the UK, and I haven't sent some to New Zealand also. I haven't followed up on that one yet, but I forgot about it. But my label didn't make it over the ocean in a box. It didn't survive in a box, wrapped in a Ziploc bag with some tissue paper around it. It smudged off almost completely. It's like gone.
There was too much moisture.
So I don't know, but anyway, I guess sending it overseas, I don't know, but anyway, my label just completely gone. It was gone. And I ended up having to send him the label in email, and he printed it on a piece of paper and then he taped it. Then he took a picture of it on top of the Abbey Road record store sign. So I
Yeah,
thought that was
that
pretty
was
cool.
Nice.
that was pretty cool. That picture with the Abbey Road, the
Yeah.
Abbey sign.
Yeah.
When I went to Europe when I was 19. I was over there for a month and a half, and the traffic was too bad, like too fast at Abbey Road to get like the picture, like the Beatles. But I can say that I walked across that crosswalk barefoot.
Sweet.
Nice.
I was so proud to tell my dad that I did that.
Yeah. Alrighty. All right. So before we get into the main topic of the evening, I'm gonna just let a little bit of a sponsor spot here. So we'll catch you guys here after that. All right, so we're back. Yes,
Hey.
we're over here discussing on how Vandal
Shake.
looks so much like Swaggins. That is just,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Vandal, you guys are like, separated twins.
I think that like just on age though, I think that Swags looks like Vandal because I think that Vandal's a bit older than Swags.
I
Not
could
by
imagine.
even that much.
No, yeah,
So we're gonna call him
I met
Baby Swag?
Swaggins first. That's why I say it that
I
way.
know.
But yeah,
Vandal's in chat. Hey, brother. I checked my mailbox. My RDA's not there, bro. What the hell, man?
all right. So
my wife is in chat from far away. Say hi,
nice.
Miss Sifu. Hi.
Hello, Stevie's wife.
Say something so they know who you are.
Nice. Alrighty. So we were trying to discuss what we were gonna do for the show. We didn't know. We were trying to figure out what we were gonna mix. And then Mitch, being the awesome guy that comes up with crazy ideas that he was like, "How about we just explain our process, our thought process? How do we get to making a mix and stuff like that?" And I know, like, for the show, it's been a lot more easier because we're given at least a baseline of what we're gonna do, but like just for our own personal mixes, or if we just get some crazy idea in our head, and how do we go through that process? So I don't know. Let's start with Sifu. Sifu loves telling us his stories. Let's do it.
Put me on the spot.
Always.
Well, for me, I generally try to build on past experiences.
Mhm.
My nose is a big key for me. So I might not know how two things go together, but I'll start smelling flavors. I'll get an idea for something. Like an example, whenever I did that ginger infused pear thing, I was like, okay, fig and pear, great. You start smelling one, you smell the other, you smell them together. Yeah, that should be all right. Then you start working on the different parts of that. It's like, okay, that takes care of the fruit. And then from past experiences, that for me, I know that like rum or bourbons really is kind of a binder. I know that that'll work. And so I just start building from that. Like sometimes I'll just take a previous mix that I know that I have 3 or 4 components that work well, and then I'll just adapt that. And, you know, like the very first mix that I did for this show was that Gin Xer. Remember, I did a gin mix, and it was too much like gin. But I would just remember that that gin offered a real nice brightness and bite to it. So the next time I did something that was in that line, I did the blue ras coconut I'm sorry, the such as mango, and I wanted something super bright, but also kind of tart. So I know cactus is tart, and I know the gin is bright. I know that, these mangoes will work from past experience, and then you just put those together, and then you start getting a better feel for percentages of each component, right? So I think about them in layers. It's like, okay, so for this for this cake mix, I don't want a lot of cake because I haven't had a good experiences with cake. So I'm gonna kind of bring that cake percentage down. The middle notes, the binders, I try to stay in between the cake and the top note of what I want more of. So I start layering in that sense, like top, what I want more of, the binders, and what I want less of, and whatever mix that is, that's how I kind of approach it. So, um, like, and sometimes things are accidents. I mean, we've had accidents too. Like, y'all know the story of Peach Among Worlds. It accidentally dripped my bourbon peach over yig, and I was like, oh shit, this is something. So I basically adapted that recipe with other stuff. So you start building from there. My approach for this show has been built off of those experiences as well. And, just listening to you guys talk. Um, I take notes from other shows, especially like shows like Noted. If I'm unsure about something, I'll just look for a YouTube video. And I'll start reading the notes in in ELR. Actually, I'm actually pretty good about putting something together so that I have like a table of ingredients and then clicking those and going to check the notes in each. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so this guy is saying that it's super strong. So I'll go back and I'll lower my percentage. So it gives me a good baseline to start. And then what I'll do from there is that once I have something that's balanced, I'll use the ELR percentage adjuster and I'll adjust it up or down from there. And that's been a staple for me. I still like to. I always fall back on old tricks. You fall back on things that you know work. Like I know that like Capella Vanilla Custard V2 and DX Bavarian Cream work really well together. So I whenever I want a cream base or a custard base, I know that those two things work, and I'll play that card often. I'll play that card often. Um, when I did Kick It Root Down, I was kind of the same thing. My cousin asked for a root beer, and I'm like, I don't know about root beer. So what I did was I took um, my reserve mix, which is headache now, Sir Isaac's headache. I took the apple and all that stuff, kept the cream base, and put root beer in it because I know that cream base will work.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that stone works. Like my black currant stone. Once I finally got that black currant together, I know that that's going to work with just about anything that I want. So it's about pulling those pieces. It's not necessarily just a single flavoring, or it's just these few pieces I know work with everything. This I know won't work. So and you start layering those things, and that's why been my. It sounds a little haphazard. It's not a really scientific. It's more of how things smell, my past experiences, and um, just saying screw it and just trying something. Sometimes, most time, this show has been good for me as far as saying screw it. I'm just going to try this. Um, as uh, as opposed to what I used to do because look, you get busy during the week, and then you don't know what you're going to do, and then it's like a day out, and you're like, oh shit, I need to hurry up and put something together. So you have to fall back on those past experience
Yeah.
to be successful on the show, So um, that's worked well for me. Also sticking to, um, as far as a process, um, just sticking to the bases that and the nicotines that and the processes that For me, filling orders, I try not to deviate from my routine,
Mm-hmm.
because Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you're providing somebody something safe. So that routine of sanitizing things and wiping things down and keeping things separated is important. Making sure your nicotine is well preserved is important. Um, but that whole process of laying out your bottles, making sure you have your notebook with your orders, setting up your I batch my concentrates for my commercial line, so I don't have to mix a bunch of bottles for each bottle, so that it keeps my product consistent. And I try not to switch. I don't switch my bases. I don't switch my nicotine, because the one time that I've done that, the nicotine was too smooth and it just tasted like nothing. And so my customers was like, "Dude, you sure this is 12 milligram? It tastes like nothing." And I'm like, "Shit, okay." So I got a tester kit. I tested, and it was spot on. And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm guessing I'm not getting this one again." You know, um, so you go back to that. So my process for the commercial line has not has not changed at all. I just, being sanitary and making sure that everything is safe and process is very important. But um, the other than that is just keep building from your own experiences. So that's been that's been my process for a while now, and it's gotten much more focused since starting this show. I've been able to draw from a lot different source, and I think my weekly mixes have been very consistent in being good to okay to good. Some of the mixes that I made for this show ended up on my commercial line. You know, so that's just a testament to like the knowledge that I'm getting from you, from the chat, and from the community is helping me do that. So that's me. Um, Mitch.
Well, I having a brain fart at the moment. I was actually building a recipe. I was gonna try and sneak something in while we were on the show because I had an idea. But normally it just I I get a lot of inspiration from also all over the place. Whether that be watching TV or watching Food Network or other liquids. I mean, earlier I was talking with the guys about how I just picked up 3 of Ohm.My.Boys flavors, and it's the first time I've bought commercial liquid in a while, and I felt that it was I needed something to kind of help rejuvenate that what I felt like I was missing.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like last night on the show, making that recipe, it came pretty quickly due to the just lots of research on the flavors that I pick up. I was having a conversation with a new mixer the other day about he's been like addicted to buying flavors, but he hasn't been really happy with some of the mixes he's made. And then when he told me that he had like 160 flavors, I was like thinking, I'm like, you haven't come up with anything that you're happy with. And I was actually talking to him about building recipes. I saw in the chat that LabWorks talked about kind of reverse engineering,
Mm-hmm.
and that's big, definitely. Yeah. Besides that, I'm kind of drawing a blank. Like I said, I after smelling and taste testing Ohm.My Mango, I can tell you for a fact that it has Vape Train Sisha Mango in it.
Yes, definitely does.
It's I would bet that there's some flavor Indian mango in it as well.
Yes, definitely.
But I'm thinking I'm gonna make a mango soda, like a mango
Mitch,
soda.
it's interesting that you say that. Is that I was struggling with that profile, and then I tried Ohm.Boy's recipe, and I'm like, I'm going about it all wrong, man. You gotta embrace that what you gotta embrace that dankness for that mango. You know, it's like
Mhm.
I was trying to go. It's too green. It's too green. Too green. Too green. He's going super skunky, and it works. So yeah.
And I thought that vaping it, because I've heard so much good stuff about it, that vaping it would help me figure out what I need to do and what directions I can do to fix and adjust the mango in my mango lemonade. That was my reasoning for picking it up. But
Totes.
Okay, well then, what are you mixing? What's this idea? You don't have to tell me every ingredient, but I'm just curious.
it's a mango soda. It's like a mango citrus soda. I'm using a couple of Mountain Dews, couple of mangoes. I really liked the way the Sicilian mix kind of pulled that mix from yesterday together, because I only put a percentage of it in the popsicle, but I get a little bit of that, and I'm hoping that it will pull the citrus from the soda and the fruitiness from the mango and help tie them together. And this is going to be the first recipe I use the fizz pop from Capella. I want to see if it does anything. That's all.
You want to go or you want me to go?
You go for it, Chris.
All right. I think that this is the time that I'm supposed to say something really well thought out, and and I come up with these ideas like super smartly, but I don't think that really happens. I think that on any given day, I might be like struck with the idea of what I want to do, and then I just do it. And if it works, I take whatever works from it and I move forward with that knowledge. And if I don't have any success with it, I might get something from it. The one thing that I feel that has helped me in my mixing journey, though, is keeping notes. So whenever I mix anything, like it's ever since I created an ELR profile. Before that, I would do it in like a book, and it ended up just being like a lot of wasted time, because like I would just like jot things down and there'd be like no context as to what it was. So unless I actually specifically said what I was referring to, like I have no idea. So since I created an ELR profile, if I mix something up, if it's public, I end up just vaping it and I change it. And like sometimes I'll like add notes to there, and sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just like make the third version and it just still reads like the original. But when I'm doing something for myself, or if I'm like working on a profile for someone, or like someone's like, oh, it'd be cool for like this, and I'll be like, oh, you know what, I never thought about doing that. Anything that's private, like there'll be some recipes that have like 15 notes. So sometimes I also the way that benefits me is not only like do I dial in that one specific flavor, and it allows me to like read my notes as I'm vaping it and say, oh yeah, you know what, like I can drop this down a little bit more, because like I've dropped it down since the note that I wrote myself virtually. Like you can drop this down, or you can adjust this, or you can adjust that, or I swapped out this raspberry for that raspberry, blah 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 blah. But it also allows me to, if I type in and like my search thing for like a specific, like let's say it's like VSO blueberry, it'll show all of the recipes that I've made with VSO blueberry, and then I can look at the notes that I've made and I can say, oh well, VSO blueberry worked really well in this mix, so this profile is not that far off. I can try using it at this percentage, or I can try all these different things. So for me, the biggest part has just been ultimately notes. Now, how I get inspired is, like I said, sometimes I'll just be like, I'm a courier, right? So like at work, I drive a lot. I just sitting there by myself, listening to the radio, and things are going through my brain all the time. I have like one of those brains that like I can't really shut it off. So it also leads to me not sleeping that much, because like my brain's always moving. It's not always going anywhere positive. Like sometimes it'll be negative, but like, you know what I mean? It's just always going. So when I'm sitting in the car, I don't just sit there and like listen to the radio and just zone out and like the lyrics are going in my head. I might be thinking about a million different things. So some days I'll just be like, oh, you know what? Like I want to make like a cakey blueberry muffin, like a Costco muffin. Because to me, Costco muffins are basically cake, but they're supposed to be muffins. There's like the tiniest element of a muffin. So I'll be like, okay, yeah, like I now, oh, what flavors do I have do I think could work well with that? And then I start putting it all together. And then by the time I get home, like I either like make a recipe and I'll just go on ELR and I'll put the recipe together. I might not even mix it that day, but I'll put it together and then eventually I'll get to mixing it and I make my notes and all that stuff. So when it comes down to it, I just like kind of like let it flow. Like that's really it. Like I don't have a specific way I ever do anything other than like if I get a new flavor, yeah, I'm gonna do as much research on that flavor as I can. I'm gonna read a bunch, see what people are mixing it in, see how people are utilizing it, what kind of percentages people are using it, and all that stuff. But like ultimately, I don't find that I get to know a flavor until I start using it. I tried to do the single flavor mixing, but when I tried to do that, I already had over 100 flavors. So it was like way too much work. And it was honestly too much money for me to go back and like make a bunch of 10 ml bottles of like something at 2% or whatever. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that because ultimately I think that that's probably the best way to get to know a flavor. But I just found that as I went along, trying to do certain things like I'm sure that everyone here, right? You might have one favorite fruit, and you might have that fruit that you've tried in a cake, or you've tried it in a fruit mix, or just a drink, or whatever. And you're always going back to that one fruit or that one cake or whatever, and you learn how you can use it. So, like, I know that I can use cinnamon Danish swirl from Capella in like numerous ways, and certain percentages I can get away with it as just using it as a cinnamon and I don't get a lot of the cakiness. Or there could be I can hammer it and put a bunch of it in and I get a lot of that like cinnamon Danish or like a cinnamon bun, and I can add smaller parts, like I could put a bit of raspberry into it or I could put a bit of apple into it, and then all of a sudden it becomes like a slightly different thing, but it's ultimately going to be that cinnamon roll idea. Whatever, like put whatever flavoring you want into that mix and you can learn it that way. So I'm not saying that that's the right way, I just think that that's how my brain works. So I'm always just trying new things, and without trying things, like I find that things get stale for me if I just try to like work on a profile until I get it. I honestly want to give up before I get there because I get frustrated like really quickly, and I'm not really sure why. So like for me it's easier if I'm working on 3 or 4 different things, and then I can kind of move around back and forth and I can like let that sit in my brain, and then I might mix a few other things on the way there. And now when I revisit that recipe, there's like a trick that I picked up, or like Sifu says one thing on one show, or I'm watching Fresh and like he says something, or Addy Tooney does something, and I'm like, oh man, you know what? I might try that. Like there's a maple cream cookie that I was working on, and I was trying to get the cream part in a totally different way. And then Addy Tooney's like, just try this. What did he say? It was Wonder Flavors cream filling. He's like, try it at like 0.75%. I tried at 0.75%. It instantly made it closer to what I wanted. Now I've tweaked it a little bit since by like adding a couple other smaller things just to get the exact creaminess that I wanted. But if I didn't like watch the shows or check the shows out or whatever, I probably would never even have thought of it. Even though I had that concentrate, I just was thinking like that would be like a cream puff filling, like not, you couldn't use it as like a cookie cream. So it's just like all those little things that you just kind of pick up. Like I hope that no one out there thinks that you're going to get really good overnight. I sucked for a real long time, and I still only think that I'm like I'm not a novice at this point, but I'm a
Not all
bit
of us can
beyond
be Mitch.
novice. You know what I mean? And I there's still so much more for me to learn. But I think
I
the
suck.
part for me is like I'm still excited about doing it, and I'm still excited about learning things and mixing different things, and that is what's fueling me to get better. Is like the excitement and the fact that, you know, when you start to get a few recipes down that you enjoy, and you know that you've mixed up and other people have tried and they're like, oh, that's really good, I like that, or that kind of does, like, you know, it fuels your fire to like get more, you know, to get better, to like wow people. And I think that that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I'm like at the point now where like I want to start to wow people. Like I'm not saying that like every fucking recipe is going to be amazing, because I don't think that anyone can really say that, but I just want to wow people. I just want to. I like it. It's fun. It's nice to know that you're doing something that people enjoy. I think that no matter what you do in your life, like anything can be rewarding depending on what you're trying to do. And that's all I'm trying to get out of DIY is just have those rewarding experiences where like I'm working on something and I obtain that goal of like making something that tastes good and that I've done and I put the work in. But I just also, like I said, I can't cram it. I can't be like, I'm not doing anything until I nail this vanilla custard. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
just
no, you
can't
got
do
to move
that.
on, man. Yeah, you'll get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like so that's basically what I do. And the reason why I actually said blueberry muffin before is because I thought about that the other day and I mixed it up like right
Mm-hmm.
before or like in the beginning of the show. I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna try it after I was done talking. But go ahead, clown.
All
Hit us
right.
with your
Yeah.
process.
Back in the day, I was doing the whole do a single mix, see how it like tastes, just to get a big idea of what it is. But now it's more in the whole thing of you got to keep in mind that even if in a single flavor, it's not going to taste the same once you put it with something else. Like it blends and it does all whatever it's supposed to do and things like that. And I mean, one of them is just I remember Labworks a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, when I first started talking to him. He told me he's like, think of how they make the real foods, especially like I'm a dessert guy. I like desserts. I like to like do cakes. You guys watch. I always end up going back to desserts, even though I'm trying to get out of that comfort zone. And but I think more like of, well, what components fall into this? Do I need a cream? Do I need this and that? And with doing this show, I've been going more into understanding mouthfeel. Like if we do, like say a pie, and you want that like that crust mouthfeel, you know, you start playing around with like some graham cracker or the crust or things like that. You play on a couple of different ones just to get that one single thing. It's kind of like yesterday on the Ohmies when they asked Mitch, what is like your most simplistic sounding recipe that is so ridiculously complex? And I feel like we've gotten all to that point where it could be a very simple sounding idea, but how we get to there, it's a lot more. It takes a lot more, and it is all like Sifu said. It's all experiences. Because I mean, to me, one of my go-tos is the for like especially like for doing pies and stuff like that. I always go back to Capella's Gram B2. Just that one's one of my favorites. It's one of my top ones, and I always go back to that. I've tried a couple of the other ones I have. They're fine, but that one always ends up coming back up, and I'm trying my best not to go back to the staples just because I do want to explore a little bit more and push more into learning what else is out there. But that is a major thing for me, is just trying to think of what goes into this, what based on my experiences, what can I grab out of everything I have and make that flavor come out the way I want it to. Also using the ELR flavor list, it's an amazing thing. Seriously, go through there, check the flavors that they have. Just go into flavor list, type in whatever one you have, or even if it's just one you don't have and you're considering buying, just go in there, look up just that flavor profile. Just put in like recently I was looking up red velvets because I really wanted to do that, and I just typed in red velvet and I got the list of every red velvet flavoring that there is in the ELR list. And I just started comparing all the notes, what people had to say about them. I mean, you got to keep in mind, some of these notes tend to be older, some of them tend to be newer. So you got to take it to whatever point you want to take it to. But it's just trying to figure out what, like, exactly you're looking for in that mix. And for me, that's kind of one of those things where I just take all of that into thought. Like with the red velvet, you know, there's the cheesecake the cream cheese icing, so I got to put that into idea. I got to think about like the breading. Do I want mouthfeel in it and this and that? And it plays into a lot of things just to try to get to this very simple idea once you actually think about it. And I mean, even trying to do fruits. I mean, you guys, we've discussed this several times where if you're trying to get one fruit flavor, but you maybe need something behind it, like say a grape, like a white grape or a pear, just to boost it and make it taste more authentic or more close to what you're looking for. Or I haven't played a lot with them, but you guys have been talking about this, like with the candies, like what flavorings taste more like a candy versus ones that taste more natural. Like me, I lean more natural. If I'm going to do like a fruit flavor, I like to do more natural, but sometimes there's going to be that one time I'm going to need that one that tastes more candy-ish, you know, or kind of like
So I've
yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way.
No, yeah, you're fine.
I've started using the various sisha flavor concentrates.
Mm-hmm.
I use those as basically as boosters.
Mm-hmm.
I use them the way I use liquid barn sour or super sweet. Like I use them to give those
as an additive.
I mean,
Yeah.
as an additive.
And there are so many flavors that you wouldn't think would work as an additive, but they do. Like you could use them to boost certain flavors more.
And honestly, even real staple flavors can boost something. Like when I was doing the root beer, I was like, in the recipe that I adapted, there was some cheesecake in it, right? So I was like, oh, root beer and cheesecake, no way, take that out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started vaping in it. I'm like, I'm missing something deep and kind of cheesy, kind of earthy. Put the cheesecake back in. Boom, kick it root down. You know, it's cheesecake and root beer.
You wouldn't think it would go, but
you wouldn't think, right? I mean, and honestly, anything like you're saying with candies, it's like guava is the juicer. You know, if you want it, cactus is a juicer. You start understanding what gives juice and mouthfeel. You know, I appreciate you saying about mouthfeel, Clown. It's something that's important in the experience. And a lot of people will gloss over and they'll go, why does my stuff suck? It's because you're not really thinking about how it feels on your palate. You know,
because I like when I do a pie vape or something like that, and you have that like graham crackery kind of after feel, kind of like it's like that apple fritter one I sent you. It leaves that weird like icing coating in your mouth afterwards, and it's like the most awkwardest thing because you're not eating an apple fritter, but it has the whole experience in it.
Yeah, totally get it.
It's like when
that's not like a cinnamon vape is not my deal, but it's like the experience of vaping it is wonderful. You know, it leaves. If it was just like cinnamon with like an exhale of apple, it would be strange to me. You know, because it's not my deal. But together with everything together, it works. It works great.
Yeah. Would you have to say, Mitch?
So I like after making that mix yesterday and this mix today, just super fast. I've realized that I've been getting too far in my own head. I've been overanalyzing things, and instead of relying on the knowledge I've gained from putting in the time doing the research on flavors. Like yesterday's recipe turned out super good, and I'm excited to go down that rabbit hole with that cherry pineapple. Like it turned out, I'm really happy with it. And today's recipe, I mean, I threw it together in like a couple of minutes. And I'm actually pretty happy with it too. It definitely needs a couple more tweaks than the one from yesterday, but I'm getting everything. Like I'm getting the citrusy soda, I'm getting the mango, and I do think I'm going to have to increase the fizz pop because I just, on that one, I went 1.5%, which was actually ELR's recommendation. And normally I go a little bit lower than ELR's recommendation on stuff. but I do think that I could increase that because as of right now, I know that I just made it too and just shook it up, so it could change a little bit.
Give it
But
some
for
time.
right now, it just kind of gives me a little bit of a tingle,
Question.
which and
You used fizz pop or a citrus pop, some kind of soda?
I used Fizz Pop and then I used 2 Mountain Dews.
Okay.
Max Dew,
So well, I
Max
have a
Dew and Dew
suggestion.
Mountain.
I have a suggestion. Try some champagne. You have a champagne? TFA champagne?
I don't do a lot of boozy stuff, brother. On the
It
11th of this
doesn't,
month, I
it's,
celebrated 4 years
well,
sober.
it's not, it doesn't present as champagne. It's going to boost your soda. It's going to boost your soda. It's kind
Yeah,
of got
I've thought.
it's got like a flat grapey kind of note. And I think that would work for a soda. I've seen several people use,
Yep.
when I was researching for sodas, a lot of people use champagne in sodas. So it doesn't present as boozy. It just presents as a, like you said earlier, a booster. It's like an additive.
All right. So yeah, those are some of our tips. Here's a little link that Mr. Labworks sent me. Paul, if you want to like explain that a bit better than I possibly can, but there's something for you folks to help you guys along with your mixing journey. Also, getting a second opinion helps on a lot of this stuff. Like for me, especially, like I've gotten in a lot of fights and I did a lot of moshing in my early 20s, so my nose is pretty like fucked up at this point in my life. I've been punched in the face way too many times. And so sometimes if I'm not really fully sure of a mix, I'll actually have my wife just be like, here, smell these really quick and see if they work together for me. And she gets it on point all the time. If I don't get that second recommendation, I'm kind of winging it at that point. But yeah. All right, guys. So that was the show for today. We were like 4 minutes over. What?
Have you ever done I call it the mall cologne test, where I'll take like a strip of paper towel and I'll put like I'll drop a
No.
couple of the flavors I'm gonna do and kind of smell them to see how they smell together.
I'm not.
I've done that before.
I do this.
Yeah, see,
Do that
I'll sit there like this, and she'll even do the same thing. And she'll like grab different like if I have like 4 or 5 bottles, she'll start getting like that all the smells, see if they will actually combine very well and stuff.
I have a good sniffer.
She does.
I have good sniffer.
But so yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Chris, take us away on the sign-offs.
All right, I'll be quick. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you guys learned something. It kind of made me realize about how I do things without ever thinking about it previous to right now, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of okay with the way I do it. There's definitely lots of things that I need to learn, and there's definitely lots of things that I need to polish, but I do feel like I'm well on my way, which is exciting for me. I'm at the point now where like, more often than not, I can get something vapable off the first go, and it'll be pretty close to what I want. You know, there's still the times that I make an attempt at something and it's nowhere near it, and I completely miss the mark. But I also take those as learning experiences and kind of move forward with them, so they don't happen as often. You guys can check me out on Friday nights on the Green Room on Frames Janklin Vapor's YouTube channel, as well as you can check out all the stuff at shittimepodcast.com. Sean Typhon's been killing it over there. He's got that site to like look really good, and it works really well, and there's tons of information about guests we have and music and all sorts of cool shit. So check that out. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm gonna throw it to Mitch.
Hey, thanks for coming and hanging out with us, everybody. You can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Although I kind of have been taking a break from Facebook, and it's been awesome. I'm up to like 100 notifications because I've just kind of been staying away from the actual Facebook and just been using Messenger, talking to people, asking about recipes.
I stick
But
to the
yeah,
BST groups and that's it.
Oh my God, I've joined so many of those the last few weeks.
but yeah, if you didn't catch Ohmies last
Clown
night,
told
go
me.
back and watch it. Yours truly was on it.
Good show.
And I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was a great
I'm
show,
out.
Mitch. I enjoyed that one. It was great.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Hey, don't just thank me. Clown was on there too, bro.
I said y'all were great. Y'all were
I'm
great.
already on this show, so it's more like, you know.
He wasn't a guest. He's a panelist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
y'all were great. Y'all were great. I've been out for a week and a half. It's felt weird. Sorry to all my customers out there. I know I'm putting you guys behind, but I promise I'll get back to you. And I'll get you guys all sorted out. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for the support. I just gotta say I love Tuesday night with my dudes. I missed it last week, and I was scared I wouldn't make it this week, and it bummed me out. And it all came together in the end, and really happy to come back. I always learn so much just hearing you guys' process. You know, it gives me ideas on something I might not have thought about, a different angle to approach something. You know, it's great. It's been fun. Just thank you guys so much. You can catch me out on my normal channels, Facebook Messenger and things like that. But I'm kind of like Mitch. I kind of stayed away from Facebook, and then I'm kind of like Clown. I just joined a bunch of BST groups, and I just, that bomb you hear.
It's funny. It's like that's one of the only places politics really stays out of. But
oh, it's so great.
Yeah, but then there's like the
so
issue
great.
of, well, this person's a thief. Don't trust this person.
Oh yeah, but then it's like, okay, and then Mitch posts a picture of a side by side, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, I'm gonna join every side by side group.
I'm in love,
dude. I'm digging this thing.
Okay, you see, you got me. Okay, you got me. And it's like I got I got early Christmas presents. So I got a pile of billet box stuff waiting for me at home, and it's like, oh, I gotta go home. But it's been great, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, take us away.
All right, so thank you guys again for joining us. We had a blast just
Clown,
chit-chatting
take us away.
We're gonna go back to mixing next week. Hopefully, we'll see. Unless we come up with other topics to talk about, but otherwise we'll just go back to mixing. It's all good. Alrighty, so we'll catch you guys next week. Yeah.
Oh no, we're mixing next week. I'm ready to mix. I haven't mixed in 2 weeks. It's mixing time.
Same here, dude. It's been a bit. But yeah, if you guys are interested in the juice coils I make, hit me up. The alien jar is getting full. Just saying. I need to empty that bitch out so I have a reason to keep going. But what else? Yeah, and if you guys want to rep the show, go hit up our Teespring. I know there's a link down below, and Addy Tooney has been he's been repping there. He's been shooting that one. So yeah, go check that out.
Excuse me.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week, and as always, vape on, mix on.